All right, welcome back. Well, check this out. The outdoor grounds at the Marcus Performing Arts Center has a new art installation that may bring back those childhood memories of blowing bubbles. The inflatable installation is called Evanescent, and it's on its international tour. The material even bends light in such a way to create a rainbow pattern.
Ooh.
It's pretty, right? If you want to go check them out, they're in town through Saturday. Very beautiful.
And aren't they lit up at like night, I believe?
Yes, yes.
Like, that looks
It
cool.
kind of reminds me of this 90s toy. It was called super elastic plastic, where you could blow bubbles, but the bubbles never break. You wouldn't remember that.
I mean,
but it looks the same.
Was it one of those 1995 TV offers or something?
Yeah, where you see the commercial. Yeah. One of those things.
One of those, call that 1-800 number, you know, 3 easy payments.
You buy one, you get two free.
Yes. That's hilarious. But yeah, those look really cool. I passed by.
Well, the North Shore Health Department has evacuated luxury apartments after exposure to a carcinogen in the air. The department says people were moved out of 6 units from the Lydell Apartments after the state reported elevated levels of TCE, a cancer-causing chemical. North Shore Health says they learned about the exposure last month, and the building's developer attempted to take action, but levels remained high, ultimately leading to that evacuation.
I know that the folks in the Lydell management have been working really hard and really closely with the tenants to get them squared away.
Now, health officials say if levels spike in the other units, they may also have to be evacuated. 2 other Lydell buildings, including one currently under construction, tested negative for TCE. Now, this is the second incident of TCE being found in an apartment building. Back in March, the Milwaukee Health Department evacuated around 150 people from the community within the corridor apartments at 32nd and Center over TCE exposure. Many residents there have since joined a class action lawsuit against CWC developers. Well, the Mitchell Park domes shut down 7 years ago because of falling concrete, and wire mesh was the temporary fix. But after years of working with consultants and creating a task force back in 2019, there is still no action plan to permanently fix the domes. Now, repairs could cost nearly $90 million in all 3 domes. The Parks Committee learned in a study that the friends of the domes and individual donations could amount to about $23 million, but that's far short from their goal.
There is no huge money coming from the community. That's a loud, clear statement that we have to change direction.
Now, Supervisor Sheldon Wasserman, who is the chair of the Parks Committee, says the goal is for the full county board to vote on what exactly will happen to the domes by the end of this year. Well, on to Project Drive Safer now. The reckless driving epidemic in Milwaukee has drivers thinking twice about how they can be better drivers driving defensively. TMJ4's Miriam McCarr shares what changes neighbors want to see.
Miriam McCarr, TMJ4 News.
All right, thanks, Miriam. And as a reminder, the Safe Streets Roadshow rolls into Hales Corners tonight. Residents can voice concerns and ask questions for transportation officials. It starts at 6 p.m. at the Open Flame Restaurant. Well, former Northwestern football player has filed a lawsuit against the former head coach and school leadership. It goes into troubling detail outlining rituals that were allegedly carried out within the program on campus and at the team's preseason training camp in Kenosha. More than a dozen other former Northwestern athletes have hired high-profile civil rights attorney Ben Crump.
We have some former college athletes going back 10 years saying that they were, abused physically, mentally, and some of them sexually.
Now, we're expected to hear from Attorney Crump at a news conference this morning. Well, an American soldier is detained in North Korea after he crossed the demilitarized zone. Army Private Second Class Travis King was facing disciplinary action. Military police escorted the 23-year-old to an airport checkpoint in South Korea so he could be sent home. King reportedly left the airport, tagged along with a commercial tour, and made the dangerous crossing. King is the first American detained in North Korea in nearly 5 years. In 2016, Otto Warmbier was arrested during a trip and sentenced to hard labor. He was released a year later, but he died shortly after returning to the U.S. The time is now 4:38, and here's a look at some other headlines that we're following this morning. The unsolved killing of hip-hop artist Tupac Shakur is once again in the spotlight. Las Vegas police say they served a search warrant in the case. It happened Monday in the city of Henderson, about 15 miles outside of Vegas. Now, police have not said what they are looking for or whether a suspect has been identified. Shakur was shot and killed in September of 1996 at 25 years old. No one has ever been arrested in the case. Well, former President Donald Trump says he expects to be charged in another federal investigation. Trump revealed Tuesday that he was given notice. He is the target of the special counsel's investigation into the January 6th Capitol riot, as well as efforts to reverse results of the 2020 election. Trump says the letter, received Sunday, gave him 4 days to testify before a grand jury in Washington. Well, federal regulators are cracking down on unwanted robocalls. The Federal Trade Commission announced a new effort called Operation Stop Scam Calls. It involves more than 100 federal and state law enforcement authorities. The crackdown targets people who provide telephone numbers to robocallers. Officials say they trick consumers into providing personal information to telemarketers and duping them into giving consent for unwanted calls. Thanks, Brendan. The roadway is still looking really nice as you are traveling out and about for your morning drive. We haven't seen any incidents all morning. This is a look at the interstate system right at I-43 at Hampton Avenue. Traffic looks good, but keep in mind out on I-43 on the southbound side right near Good Hope Road to Bender Road, you will have that new traffic pattern shift just on the southbound lanes today. On Sunday, the northbound lanes will be shifted as well. So just keep that in mind. Give yourself an extra time and pay attention to the roadways as you are traveling in that area. The rest of the roadways look good across the interstate system. We're not seeing any crashes or delays, so let's talk about a big event happening in downtown Milwaukee tonight. The Milwaukee Night Market is happening tonight from 5 to 10 p.m. You will see roads closed out on West Wisconsin Avenue between 2nd Street and Bel Air Phillips Avenue. Just keep in mind, a lot of people will be out and about in the downtown area. Simone and Tom, over to you.